Hello, everyone. It is November 15th, 2022, and welcome to today's episode of Dapper News. We have a lot of big news today, so we're going to be going over the FTX and BlockFi bankruptcy filings and its implications, the Binance Industry Recovery Fund, Cristiano Ronaldo's NFT collection, how CryptoPunks has now flipped Bored Ape Yacht Club as the #1 collection, and finally, how Black Panther is releasing their own NFT collection. Let's get started. Soorya, what do you have for us first today?
So first, I want to talk about how Opensea has decided to side with creators. So they released a huge thread earlier this week saying that they will never get rid of royalties and that royalties will always be enforceable. And this is actually like people were expecting them to go with the trend of royalty-free marketplace because Blur is on the come up and has been stealing a lot of market share from OpenSea. So yeah, people are really happy actually that OpenSea sided with the creators, and now that the #1 NFT marketplace on Earth enforces royalties. Both buyers and projects are really happy with this decision. What do you have to say?
I completely agree with their decision. So, are they changing it so it's no longer that you need to put something into the code of the project for royalties to be enforced? It's just everyone's royalties are enforced now? Or is it still the same?
They're basically leaving it as is. So however it was for all these years with OpenSea, it's gonna stay the same. So
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. I love it. I'm really glad to hear that they did that. So next, I think we want to jump in very quickly to the FTX and BlockFi bankruptcy filings. So this is a huge topic. This has been like basically all anyone's been talking about for the past week. So I'll just start by saying it was a few days ago that SBF announced that FTX would be filing for bankruptcy and that they are like $8 billion in debt that they are unable to repay. After that, SBF has gone on the run. People don't really know where he is, and all that we have heard from him so far is a cryptic line of tweets. I think it was like 12 or 13 tweets, and like 8 of them were just one word. Or it was like one letter for some of it. It was like what happened, and then happened was like every letter was its own tweet that he sent out like 2 hours after each other. So it's just like everyone's wondering what that means. I know there's a lot of skepticism around that, but this FTX incident just goes very deep. What do you think before I go over the whole thing?
Yeah, I think it's honestly crazy. I think one of the biggest things that you didn't mention was maybe you were going to how CZ was offering to bail out FTX. And then he bailed. I think that really shook the crypto markets. So if we weren't, it wasn't like 100% certain that this is the peak of the bear market. That kind of hammered it in the head, and that's what really caused like crypto markets to come tumbling down. What 40% or more in the past 2 weeks. But yeah, I'll let you continue.
All right, so I actually did a quick outline of exactly what happened for this incident in order. So, as you mentioned, CZ said that he was going to buy it and then canceled that, but I'm going to start before that. So, I'm going to start a few years ago when Binance was one of the earliest investors in FTX. So, they owned tons and tons of the FTT token, so they had a lot of power and a lot of stake in the company. It was estimated that they had about $2 billion of FTT. And then the issue came about when CoinDesk released an article that revealed that there is potential insolvency in the FTX portfolio and that a lot of their tokens were actually held in their FTT. So CZ allegedly saw this and said, like, they're not stable enough. We're going to back out over the course of like a few weeks or a few months because they had so much he didn't want to crash the market and make too big of a market impact. And now, of course, we know this did not happen. So CZ just dropped it. He sold it all. Prices tanked. Everything exploded. And then FTX is like, okay, guys, we're going to file for bankruptcy. They tried to sell their soul to keep up with all these withdrawals, but they just couldn't. And then this is when what you mentioned happened. It was then CZ goes on to say that, like, okay, we will buy you out so that we're not leaving all of your investors hanging. But this was a non-binding agreement and they needed to do more due diligence, which this process just did not go well. And then they were like, okay, yeah, this is beyond anything we can help, essentially. And then at this point it was like the SBF started lying. He started saying like this isn't true, he's just trying to throw shade at us. And then after this it was the big bankruptcy filing. Now there's a huge scandal, all this information. So do you have anything you want to add on to that? I know there's a lot more details that I could go into later, but that's
Yeah,
just
I would just add on how Sam Bankman-Fried had two companies set up. One was Alameda Research, and Alameda Research was a trading company, and FTX was basically a trading dex or a trading centralized exchange. And basically, because one was a trading company and one was a trading exchange, they kind of like were able to help each other, lean over the counter and help each other off. So because they were able to do that, then the companies had synergy. A lot of people are speculating that FTX took holders' money, like literally money from me and you who put Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana on FTX, and lent that money out to Alameda to then go and invest in these type of resources like Bitcoin, Ethereum, for their purposes. So the issue with this is in a bull market, this might have worked, right? Because everyone's making money. So if you invest, you make more money, and then you can give it back to people. But right now, when everything's crashing week after week after week, this is when a house of cards like this comes tumbling down. So yeah, that's the main thing I had to add about this. Do you have anything else to add before we move on to the next article for the week?
I actually do, just because this is so big, I wanted to mention one more thing. So it was actually revealed that you mentioned that Alameda and FTX were both owned by SBF, and it was revealed, I think it might have even been today or a few days ago, that they were working together for Alameda to front run all of their announcements on when tokens would be listed on FTX's exchange. So like even up to a month before they would announce that they were listing a token, they would buy a ton of it and sell afterwards. So they were literally working together this entire time. Like you mentioned, FTX was lending Alameda money, and this was like they lent them like $8 billion to invest in risky assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. All right, but without getting too far more into this, what do you have next?
So next, I want to talk about how because of this FTX scandal, Bored Ape Yacht Club actually fell from the number one spot on Ethereum as the best NFT collection. So CryptoPunks actually claimed the spot back. It was about a year ago when Bored Ape Yacht Club actually flipped CryptoPunks, and it's been at the number one spot for a while now. But now CryptoPunks, with the market cap of over 600,000 Ethereum, has flipped Bored Ape Yacht Club. And the crazy thing is, if you look at top Ethereum collections by market cap, all top four collections are owned by Yuga Labs. So that just goes to show how huge Yuga Labs is. And other than those collections, they have like a few more as well that are not in the top list, like the Kennel Club, the dog one, and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's just crazy that the top four collections are owned by the same company. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. And now people are speculating that they're going to buy even more projects. I know I saw something by Sappy Seals. It was like, hey, when's Yuga Labs buying us? So I know there's just like, I fully expect them to keep buying more projects. And I'm wondering if Yuga Labs will be like the monopoly of NFTs, if that's even possible. But
I definitely
I think
see
it's
them
really
buying
interesting.
more projects for sure.
I could definitely see that. Next, I will talk about Binance's Industry Recovery Fund, which is also in the wake of the FTX thing. I'm sure you've heard about this somewhat. I know CZ talked about it on his Twitter space yesterday that just got a ton of attention. But essentially, he's offering to bail out certain companies that are struggling due to the FTX shutting down and their bankruptcy. And they're basically just going to invest in certain projects that are just struggling and that may be threatened to shut down because of this. So do you think this will be helpful for the industry?
Oh yeah, I think it's huge. I heard about this, but I wasn't sure if he's only doing that for Binance Smart Chain projects or he's offering that to the entire crypto ecosystem. Like, is he giving it to all blockchains like Solana, Ethereum? Because
Yeah.
I think blockchains like Solana right now need a lot of help, especially if like a collection as large as DGods decides to move to Ethereum, which they're strongly considering now. If something like that happens, Solana will definitely need a lot of funding to stay alive and stay as vibrant as it has over the past 2 years. Yeah,
Yeah, as far as I know, this will be all blockchain projects. It's definitely not limited to just the Binance Smart Chain. But I just want to note, when he announced this, BNB rallied by 4%. So, like, this is a lot of the big tokens. This is also Bitcoin and Ethereum did the same. They all rallied by 4% in wake of the announcement. And Solana jumped by 13%, which I know Solana got hit really hard by FTX. So I think a lot of people in Solana are really hoping that CZ will come in and be our savior, which I would really appreciate. But one of the quotes by CZ that I found interesting is what he said is the best way to help them is by giving them money or investments. We actually think this is a good time to do it because most of their valuations are much more reasonable than they were a year ago. So essentially he's considering this because all of the prices have tanked so much that their investments right now would probably be very lucrative if he brings the industry back up. So I think this isn't like a charity move. I think it's really smart of CZ and I think it'll definitely pay off. But what's next?
Yeah, for sure. Just to add on to what you were saying, I guarantee don't think Chapeng Zhao would do a charity move at all. So yeah, this is definitely a strategic play by him. And yeah, I'm definitely bullish on Binance and the BNB token now, especially after the last few weeks and how it's played out. But yeah, moving on to the next article. I wanted to talk about how Black Panther is coming into the metaverse. So we talked about how Lord of the Rings is making the first NFT into a movie. Now the Black Panther series is actually making the first NFT collection. So they have like all the characters from the movie turned into NFTs, and they're actually just minting it as a regular PFP collection. So what this NFT does is it gives you access to a limited edition comic book. So it's not only a PFP, it doubles as an access pass to this comic book that's not yet released or written. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I think it's cool that NFTs are being used for unconventional stuff like this. What do you think?
So I have two different things I want to point out here. First of all, I'm wondering how this NFT project will do, because I'm not sure if you're familiar, but the main actor from the Black Panther movie passed away, so he is not featured in the second Black Panther. So I know that there was a lot of there was a lot of controversy about whether or not they should even make another one of these movies. So I'm wondering if this NFT collection will sort of reflect that doubt. I'm not entirely sure what the sentiment is around it. I haven't been into the sort of the Marvel fandom as much as I used to be lately with all that's been happening in crypto. But what I also wanted to mention is I find it really interesting how this comic book isn't even written yet. Like, you're buying NFTs to give you access to a comic book that doesn't exist, which I guess in the NFT industry that doesn't say that much. But still, I find it interesting that Marvel's doing that.
Yeah, I've been in the NFT space for so long that that didn't even shock me. That little fact that it's not even been written yet. I honestly thought even if it was just a PFP collection, no utility, just being tied with IP rights to Marvel, that's just crazy. Like if you could just own like a trading card that made by Marvel, I think that itself has some value. So yeah, I mean yeah, for a regular buyer, it's crazy to think that yeah, this comic book's not even written yet, and I still have to pay for it now. But yeah, because it's limited edition, I kind of see how it's like early access pass. But I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. Do you think Call of Duty does something like this, where if a year ahead you can pay for it? I feel like they do.
Yeah, they definitely do. You can like buy it early, and they'll give you some like weapon skins and stuff like that. I think. I know they used to do it was like zombies maps or things like that, but I know the new Modern Warfare 2 just doesn't have zombies, so they couldn't do that. But I feel like this is, I don't know, it's a little bit different. But before we get stuck on this, I wanted to go on to a next NFT project by another big group. So this one is Cristiano Ronaldo has partnered with Binance to release an NFT collection, which will actually be revealed on Friday. So this is coming out very soon, was just announced, I believe, today. And it's just really big because like we were just talking about how Marvel is releasing their own collection, and that'll likely do well just because it's associated with Marvel. And now the world's biggest soccer player is releasing his own collection, and it's not like a massive collection, it's not overly ambitious. So I looked into it, and it looks like it's sort of a strange size. It looks like it's like 6,645 NFTs. So most of the articles I could find wouldn't even say how big it is, but it's separated into four different rarity groups. So 6,000 of these NFTs will be in the normal rarity, 600 rare, 40 super rare, and 5 super super rare. And the interesting part about this is the 45 most rare of these NFTs, so the 5 super super rare and the 40 super rare, will be released in an auction. And these auctions are the bidding prices for the super super rare starts at 10,000 BUSD. But of course, there are only 5 of these, so I'm not that shocked. But these are only going for bidding. And I believe for the super rare, it's 1,600 BUSD for the starting bid. So he's not playing small games, but since it is Ronaldo's NFT collection, I think it'll still work. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a crazy price point, but he's also the highest paid athlete on earth, or I think he's one of them. I think Tiger Woods might actually be slightly higher paid than him. But yeah, I think as one of the highest paid athletes on earth, his collection will for sure sell out. But I don't know, in a bear market charging such a high price tag, for sure whoever buys it will not get like another buyer. I think it'll be hard to resell at the same value, because generally for mints like this, either supported by large Web2 brands or large Web2 artists, they have a lot of hype around the minting time, but it's really hard to sustain that hype like 6 months out or a year out. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the NFT's price will do, but yeah, I think if you like Cristiano Ronaldo, you like soccer, I think it'll be a very cool collectible, and I think for sure if it's the first NFT collection he's releasing, I think it'll always hold some value, some resale value.
I just wanted to add on, it's 7 animated statues, and apparently it's just, I found this kind of interesting. It depicts like an iconic moment from his life, so it could be like iconic plays or stuff like that, or something from his earlier life. So I think for Ronaldo fans, it could be pretty big, but I know in the NFT industry, I haven't seen very much excitement around it. It seems like it's going to be a big pump and dump, but who knows, maybe in the next bull run, all these soccer fans will bring it back and it'll skyrocket.
I wonder if it brings more attention to the Binance Smart Chain, because I haven't heard about it in a while.
Yeah. I think it could bring some news to Binance NFTs.
With the amount of hate Solana is getting, I won't be surprised if Binance Smart Chain suddenly took off. So
I wouldn't either, especially because CZ has just been doing so well and has been just expanding his name so much.
yeah, if either Binance, Cardano, or some other like chain we've never heard of, like Tezos or something, those NFTs randomly go 100x next week, I won't be surprised at all. Because right now people are like really hating Solana and leaving. So
one final funny note. So Ronaldo is part of Manchester United, I believe, and Manchester United recently announced a collection that they're doing, which is on the Tezos blockchain. So that was just a fun little fact I wanted to throw out. That's all I had, really. But I think it is time that we can wrap it up for today's episode of Dapper News. So thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you soon.